Hi everyone, welcome to Gallant IAS. So today in this session we are going to see in detail about the environment questions that were asked for your 2020 prelims. So let's get started. The first question is regarding India's Desert National Park. Okay, so the Desert National Park is situated within the Thar Desert, and for the purpose of conserving the biodiversity in Thar Desert, it was declared as a national park in 1981. And yes, it is spreading over two districts in the state of Rajasthan. That is in the districts of Jaisalmer and Barmer. The Jaisalmer and Barmer districts. It is being spread over these two districts in Rajasthan. So the first statement is a right statement. So if first statement is right, you can eliminate option B. Okay. Moving to the second statement, it is saying there is no human inhabitation or no human habitation inside the park. Okay. So there are local communities residing in the Thar Desert like the Bishnois. Okay, these are the local communities which are residing in the Thar Desert. So we can say second statement which says no human habitation is actually a wrong statement. So you can eliminate option A and option B. Okay, so remaining is C or D. Now, it is one of the natural habitats of great Indian bustard. Yes, definitely, the great Indian bustard is naturally found in this India's Desert National Park in Rajasthan. So, third statement is a right statement. So, here your answer should be option C, 1 and 3 only. Okay, so the most appropriate answer here should be option C, 1 and 3 only. Let's move on to the next question. So, it is regarding the question from the groundwater part, the groundwater irrigation part, and the Central Groundwater Authority. Okay, so the Central Groundwater Authority is set up under the Environment Protection Act of 1986, and which means that the second statement is right. Okay, so if second statement is right, easily A and D you can eliminate, which means the first statement is wrong here. That is, which says 36% of India's districts are classified as overexploited or critical by the Central Groundwater Authority. It is a pure factual based statement. So it is like it is not 36%, it is somewhere between 20 to 22%. So if you know that this particular CGWA is located or it is formed under the Environment Protection Act of 1986, then definitely you can arrive at the conclusion that the first statement is wrong, even if you are not familiar with that fact. So regarding the third statement, yes, it is a right statement. India is having the largest groundwater irrigation in the world, which is being followed by China and US. So here your answer should be option B, 2 and 3 only. The most appropriate answer here is option B, 2 and 3 only. Right. The third question from Tiger Reserve. Which one has the largest area under critical tiger habitat? Okay, critical tiger habitat, which is also known as the core areas of tiger reserves. Okay, these core areas of tiger reserves are known as the critical tiger habitat, and it is declared under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Here your answer is actually C, Nagarjuna Sagar Srisailam, which is having the largest area under the critical tiger habitat. Actually, it is having around 2,590 square kilometers. Okay, it is one among the largest tiger reserves in our country. So here the answer should be option C, Nagarjuna Sagar Srisailam, which is situated in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Fourth question, regarding Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. We know that the Wildlife Protection Act is being set up for the protection of wildlife. Okay, so it is having schedules like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 schedules are there in Wildlife Protection Act. So the question is asking about schedule 6. Okay, So a license is required to cultivate that plant. Such a plant cannot be cultivated under any circumstances. It is a genetically modified crop plant. Such a plant is invasive and harmful to the ecosystem. Okay, so generally, so we can say that the sixth schedule of Wildlife Protection Act is having the list of plants which are forbidden from cultivation. Okay, they are prohibited from cultivation. This we can say that this particular topic was there in news because due to the controversy of red sandalwood, whether to include it in Schedule 6 or keep it out of Schedule 6. So it was said that if it is to be kept inside Schedule 6, then a license will be required for its cultivation. So most appropriate answer here should be option A, license is required to cultivate that plant. Here you can actually rule out two options, which is option C. It is genetically modified crop. You can easily rule out, and such a plant is invasive and harmful to the ecosystem. It is not like dealing with invasive plants, so you can actually rule out option D as well. Okay, it is having those. This list is having those plants which are prohibited from cultivation, or they are regulated or prohibited from cultivation. Examples are the pitcher plant, blue vanda, red vanda are all examples of plants which are listed in Schedule 6 of Wildlife Protection Act. So here, among the other two options, A and B, the most appropriate should be option A, that is a license is required to cultivate that plant which is listed in Schedule 6 of Wildlife Protection Act. Okay. Next question, which one of the following statements best describes the term social cost of carbon? Okay, so regarding this particular question, the social cost of carbon is actually the economic damages which are caused or which would result from emitting an additional ton of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. Okay, by emitting an additional ton of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gas into the atmosphere, what is that monetary value of damage cost? That is what is known as the social cost of carbon, that long-term damage cost. So here your answer should be option A, long-term damage done by a ton of carbon dioxide emissions in a given year. So your answer should be option A. The seventh question. In the context of India, which of the following is or are considered to be practices of eco-friendly agriculture? Crop diversification, legume intensification, tensiometer use, vertical farming. So regarding this particular question, crop diversification, legume intensification, vertical farming, you will be familiar with. Tensiometer use, you will not be that much familiar. Some of you will not be familiar with tensiometer. So that is only the thing that you will be having a confusion with. Even if you know crop diversification, legume intensification and vertical farming are practices relating to eco-friendly agriculture, then what you can do here is look the options. There is only one option which is having 1, 2 and 4, right? That is D, which means tensiometer is also a method which can be related to eco-friendly agriculture. Okay, tensiometer is nothing but it is an instrument, or it is a measuring device which is used to measure the soil moisture, okay, or the water content in the soil. That is being measured by this particular measuring device or instrument which is known as tensiometer. So here the most appropriate answer could be option D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. With reference to Indian elephants, consider the following statements. The leader of an elephant group is a female. The maximum gestation period can be 22 months. Among the states in India, the highest elephant populations is in Kerala. So regarding this particular question, we know that the highest elephant population in India is in the state of Karnataka and not in Kerala. So if you know that, you can easily eliminate option B as well as option D. So either A or C will be your answer. Yes, in an elephant herd, it is actually the largest female elephant who will be leading the elephant herd. Okay, so here the leader of an elephant group is a female is actually a right statement. We can say that elephant herd is actually a matriarch, which means it is being led by the largest female elephant in that particular group. So the first statement is right. Regarding the second statement, the maximum gestation period can be 22 months. Yes, elephant is one among those animals which is having the largest gestation period, which is nearly 22 months. It is a right statement. So if 1 and 2 is right, then definitely you can go for A. A will be your safe option here. So here the answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. Next question regarding protected areas which are situated in the Kaveri basin. So among these four options, look, Papikonda National Park, which is situated in Andhra Pradesh. It is situated in Andhra Pradesh, and it is actually coming in on the banks of river. We can say it is in the Godavari basin. Okay, not Kaveri basin. Whereas all the other three, Nagarhole, which is situated in Karnataka, which is in the Kavani basin, or which is in the banks of Kavani river, which is a tributary of Kaveri. Again, Wayanad and Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve, they are also located in the Kaveri basin. Here only thing that you have to eliminate is Papikonda. Papikonda is in the Godavari basin. So if you eliminate 2, you are left with option B and option C. Yes, all the other 3 are situated in Kaveri basin. So here your answer should be 1, 3 and 4. That is, answers should be C. With reference to India's biodiversity, Ceylon frogmouth, coppersmith barbet, grey-chinned minuet and white-throated redstart are. Okay, so if you are a person who is regularly reading the newspaper and following it, will be able to answer this very easily. Somewhere in newspapers it were there in the recent times. So it's like the barbet, redstart are all birds. Okay, so this answer for this particular question is these all are birds. A is your answer. Which one of the following protected areas is well known for the conservation of a subspecies of Indian swamp deer, Barasingha, that thrives well on hard ground and is exclusively graminivorous? So graminivorous means which feeds entirely on the grass. Okay. So Barasingha, the ground swamp deer, is actually the state animal of Madhya Pradesh. So it is found in the central India. Here the answer is obviously A. Kanha National Park will be your answer. Barasingha is found in Kanha National Park, right? Which one of the following are the most likely places to find the musk deer in its natural habitat? So musk deer or the Himalayan musk deer, it is actually found in Ascot Wildlife Sanctuary, is very famous for Himalayan musk deer. So one will be there, as well as Gangotri National Park. Both are situated in the state of Uttarakhand, which is famous for musk deer. So Ascot and Gangotri is your answer for this particular question. So here your answer should be option A, 1 and 2 only. Okay, you can eliminate the other 3. Kishanpur as well as Manas can be eliminated. So here your answer should be Ascot and Gangotri is famous for, both are situated in the state of Uttarakhand and they are famous for the Himalayan musk deer. In rural road construction, the use of which of the following is preferred for ensuring environmental sustainability or to reduce carbon footprint? So regarding this particular question, copper slag. As you know, copper slag is a byproduct which is obtained during the smelting or refining of copper. So the waste copper slag can be sustainably used for road construction. So definitely 1 will be there in your answer. Regarding the second technology, which is cold mix asphalt technology, you can see there is another one in the option as well, which is hot mix asphalt technology. So when you find such options, just compare similar options. Okay, it is cold mix and one is hot mix. So hot mix asphalt technology, unlike the cold one, is actually having the process of heating. It is hot mix, right? So there will be some heating process. So there is heating of the aggregate that is taking place in hot mix asphalt technology, unlike the cold one. So whenever heating is done, there will be emissions, which means it will not be that much eco-friendly. So 4 you can eliminate, and 2 will be there. Cold mix asphalt technology, unlike the hot, it is not required for the heating of the aggregate in cold mix asphalt technology. So 2 is there, whereas 4 is not there. So if 4 is not there, you can eliminate B, you can eliminate C, and if 1 and 2 is there, you have arrived at your answer, which is option A, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so 1, 2 and 3, that is copper slag, cold mix asphalt technology, as well as geotextiles. So geotextiles is actually, they are thin and strong membrane like sheets of fabric which are used in road construction. They are mainly used for reinforcing the soil or filling the gaps in the road construction process. So the geotextiles is also there. So here your answer is option A, 1, 2 and 3 only. Right. Next question regarding, okay, coal ash. So coal ash contains arsenic, lead, mercury. Coal-fired power plants release sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen into the environment. High ash content is observed in Indian coal. So regarding coal ash, it is actually the remains that we get by burning coal, and it is having many potentially hazardous substances or constituents like arsenic, lead, mercury, cadmium, chromium, cobalt, etc. So first statement is actually right. Okay, then regarding the second statement, yes, coal fired power plants are actually emitting or they are releasing oxides of sulfur as well as nitrogen into the environment. And regarding the ash content, Indian coal is having relatively higher ash content when we compare it with the imported coal. Okay, the imported coal is only having ash content in the range of 10 to 20%, whereas Indian coal is having ash content and can range up to 45%, which means relatively Indian coal is having high ash content. So high ash content is observed in Indian coal is a right statement. So here your answer, the most appropriate answer is option D, 1, 2 and 3. Now regarding conventions and declaration, okay. Alma Ata declaration, yes, it is related with health, and this particular declaration is one which declared health as a human right for all. And Hague Convention is actually relating with the civil aspects of international child abduction. And Talanoa Dialogue, yes, definitely it is relating with global climate change, and it is actually assessing the progress towards the objectives or goals of the Paris Agreement. So 3 is right. 2 is wrong. Okay, Hague Convention is not biological and chemical weapons. It is actually relating with the civil aspects of international child abduction. So 2 is wrong. So if 2 is wrong, you can eliminate A and B. So either B or C will be your answer, and you know that 1 is right. So C will be your answer here. That is 1 and 3. Regarding under 2 coalition, it is actually the agreement which is for reducing the greenhouse gases. Okay, greenhouse gas emission, reducing the greenhouse gas emission, that is dealing with under 2 coalition. So here your answer should be option C, 1 and 3 only. That is Alma Ata declaration and Talanoa Dialogue. That 2 options are the correctly paired options, other 2 are incorrectly matched. So that's regarding the environment part of your prelims 2020 question. Hope all of you have done well. All the best for your results. Thank you.